Ну что, еще раз добрый день.
Once again, good afternoon, dear guests and colleagues. We just finished the State Commission, which looked at the results of the crew training here at the center at GCTC. And the decision was made to continue training at Baikonur.
Conference room. Based on the results of the commission, the following crew members were approved to proceed training in Baikonur Cosmodrome.
Разрешите, я кратко представлю экипажи. Итак, основной экипаж. Командир транспортного пилотируемого корабля «Союз МС-05», борт-инженер МКС Сергей Ryazanskiy, Roscosmos, Россия.
Let me briefly introduce the prime crew. Flight engineer, Soyuz MS commander and flight engineer of the ISS, Sergey Ryazanskiy, Roscosmos, Russia.
Борт-инженер 1 космического транспортного корабля, борт-инженер экспедиции МКС-52, командир экспедиции МКС-53, Рэндольф Брезник, НАСА, Соединенные Штаты Америки.
Soyuz flight engineer 1, flight engineer of the ISS-52 expedition and a crew commander of the ISS-53 expedition, Randolph Bresnik, NASA, USA.
Борт-инженер 2 корабля, борт-инженер МКС Paolo Nespoli, ЕКА, Италия.
Flight engineer 2 of Soyuz, flight engineer 2 of the International Space Station, Paolo Nespoli, ESA, Italy.
Дублирующий экипаж, командир корабля Александр Мисуркин, Россия, Роскосмос.
And the backup crew,
борт-инженер МКС.
Soyuz commander, ISS flight engineer Alexander Misurkin, Roscosmos, Russia.
Борт-инженер корабля, борт-инженер МКС Марк Ван де Хайт, НАСА, Соединенные Штаты Америки.
Soyuz flight engineer of the ISS Mark Van de Hayt, NASA, USA.
И борт-инженер 2 транспортного пилотируемого корабля, борт-инженер МКС Норишиге Канаи, Япония, JAXA.
Soyuz flight engineer 2, flight engineer of the International Space Station, Norishige Kanai, JAXA, Japan.
Уважаемые коллеги, прошу ваши вопросы, пожалуйста, начинаем.
Dear colleagues, you are welcome to proceed with your questions. Let's begin our press conference.
Здравствуйте, агентство ТАСС, Дмитрий Стругаец. Во-первых, хотелось бы поздравить вас с завершением экзаменационной сессии.
First of all, I would like to congratulate you on your successful completion of the tests with the State Commission and continuing on your training at the Baikonur Cosmodrome. So I have a couple of questions. Your flight falls on the date that is very important, the 60th anniversary of the launch of the first artificial satellite. Are you planning to celebrate this date in some way? And a follow-up question. In August, you are scheduled to perform a spacewalk.
I
was wondering if you will do anything to celebrate the anniversary of the launch of the first satellite. And then one more question. Well, let me answer this one first. It is true that we are planning to celebrate this milestone. The first satellite launch was a work where my grandfather participated as well. So this was a result of his work as well. We will celebrate this anniversary with our excellent work together with Alexander. I don't think we'll do anything specific, but it is a big date for the entire industry. During the spacewalk, we do plan to launch a few science satellites. It's going to be in August, not in October, but still this will be something that we can do to celebrate the anniversary. Okay, my second question is, are you planning to use blogs or other social media to tell us about your work in space, basically using the internet. Yes, I think our entire crew will participate in social media. Blogs are becoming more and more popular. I flew in 2013, 2014 last time, and we did not blog at all, because officially it was not encouraged, actually. Right now, it is essential because part of our work is making spaceflight popular and talking to young people. So absolutely, we will blog. For me, the easiest social media is Instagram, and that's the one that I prefer. But I'm sure I will use other platforms as well to communicate with my readers.
So we use social media in America with NASA to help get out the message of all the great science and Earth observations and ways to inspire our young people. And in America, and I think everywhere in the world, it's a medium that really works well for the young people to captivate their attention with pictures and videos and the emotion that goes with that moment that we've been able to capture. So as us as the crew, as ambassadors of the human race up into space, if we can capture any of that, what we see or what we feel, and share that with people on the ground and they can feel that as well, then I think we've done our job well.
I would say that in my previous mission in 2010 and 11, I was the first European astronaut that actually used social media to communicate. There was a little bit of doubt from the European Space Agency about this new method of communication, but after the mission, they have to acknowledge that this was a good way, as Randy said, to reach everybody. So after that, every European astronaut had a presence on social media after my first, but though we faced a problem that you're in space and you make 2 tweets, which take a whole 2 minutes, but then they are retweeted thousands of times, so the impression is that you're only tweeting in space and not working, which is a little bit of a problem. So I want to assure everybody that we are there to work, and we actually carry out our task on board. Our primary task is to maintain the station, make sure we do scientific and technological and educational activities, and we use social media and take pictures on our free time in the evening, which is very nice.
Question for Sergey Ryazanskiy. You are a biochemist. You are a physician. Are you planning to perform any medical experiments during your 6-month mission? Could you tell us about your science program on board of the ISS? My second question. For the IBMP. Right now, they are starting a series of medical experiments to imitate living in space for 150 days or more. Would you be interested in participating in this ground experiment? Well, thank you for your question. We will decide what we want to do after we're back on Earth. We'll see how interesting these experiments are for me. I will be happy to assist this team as much as I can in general. Now, for the science program on board of the ISS, we're not dividing it by specific disciplines. Although I have a degree in biology, it doesn't mean that all my work will be focused on biological experiments. We all have an overall program, and it's very busy. We will be doing medical, environmental, physics experiments, biological, etc. The only issue that we will be facing, and we are facing as a crew already, and specifically Fyodor Yurchikhin has faced this issue as well. On the Russian segment, we only have 2 Russian Federation representatives, but the volume of work remains the same, including the science program. So we'll have to use our free time, evenings and weekends, to keep up with all our science program. Of course, the priority will be given to the life support of the station and serving its systems to make sure it's functioning properly. But we will not forget about science, and we will try to perform everything that is scheduled for us, or hopefully more. Thank you. So I had to fight for this microphone. Yes, congratulations on completing an important stage of your training and on being on transitioning to the next stage at Baikonur. Thank you. Not everybody is aware of how tests you went, what questions you were asked, what you answered. Were there any questions that you were hoping not to get during your examinations? That's the first question. Second question is, what do you most value in our team members, in our fellow crew members? Because you will be spending a lot of time together. Thank you very much. For the examinations, I can't think of anything that I would be afraid of. I think, on the contrary, we've been ready to fly for a long time. We had, fortunately, no issues whatsoever during our tests. The guys did great. We countered all off-nominal situations with no problem. And Mr. Yuchikin has been waiting for us for a long time. I'm sure he's looking forward to seeing us on board. Now, for the second part of your question, I consider myself very lucky. I'm fortunate to have the crew that I have. These guys are very experienced. They've all flown in space. They are very well educated. They are professionals with their professional approach. They're very calm and level-headed. And when you sense this professional confidence from an individual, it helps. And it makes you think that you are flying with competent professionals who will help you if necessary. Additionally, they both have a great sense of humor. And when you have a good time working, then it makes it easier to face certain stressful situations. I'm confident that both Randy and Paolo will be great team members. I am very happy that I have the opportunity to work and fly in space with such experienced and great crew members. Forgive me, now I will switch to English because I do not know enough beautiful words to give you a more complete answer in Russian.
May or may not know, we have the very first scientist who is qualified as a Soyuz commander. We're very fortunate. He comes from a good Russian bloodline with Mikhail Sergeyevich Ryazanskiy, who was one of the founders of the Russian space program. And I know that his grandfather is very happy and wishes he could be here, but he's smiling down on you now. And Sergey's professionalism and calmness is what you would expect out of an experienced test pilot. That is what's made our training and our future space flight look very optimistic for us, because you cannot tell the difference between the scientist cosmonaut and the test pilot cosmonaut when you're in the simulator. And Paolo, we didn't have as much time to train with him as we would have liked. But he's also the most experienced of our crew, not only in space with his shuttle and long-duration mission, but also in life. You may or may not know that Paolo is the first person to ever launch to go to the International Space Station who is 60 years old. But look at him. He's, I think, maybe looks 40, so maybe 60 is the new 40. But with that experience comes a lot of help for us on orbit, a very good work ethic, and a very good outlook and joyful sense of humor. So we very much look forward to working together on orbit and having our backup crew come join us in September so we can have a good 3 months together until December. Спасибо.
Talking about humor, I really didn't want to fly with them, but I'm forced to. But it's just a joke. I agree with Sergey that I could not have been more fortunate to have Sergey and Randy as crew members, so to be part of their crew, even though they moved to my flight. And I think as a crew, we have a good, I feel we have a good mixture between being serious and carrying out the work, but also take it lightly and have a little bit of humor so that we can do things in a nice way. So I'm looking forward to spending this almost 5 months in space. And again, about humor, I have no choice, so we have to be together.
Rob Navius with NASA Television for Randy. Speaking of anniversaries, 6 years ago today, the shuttle Atlantis docked to the International Space Station for the final time on the final shuttle mission, 2 years after you flew aboard Atlantis on a major supply mission. What changes have you observed over the past 6 years in the way the station has expanded and matured?
You know, it's neat that you bring up that memory from 6 years ago because, you know, the crew that was aboard STS-135 obviously did a phenomenal job closing out our final space shuttle flight. And I had a fortunate opportunity to be the lead Cape Crusader during that flight. And so I got the opportunity to be the one to strap them in, do the comm checks, and be the last one out of the cockpit before that flight flew. And for me especially, but I think I was no different than anyone else who worked that mission, not necessarily at KSC, but all across NASA, that last shuttle mission was very emotional for us, ending an era of 30 years of the great space shuttle program. But what that mission symbolized was the end of the construction phase of the space station. And what that's allowed us to do then is move on, and it's become the national laboratory for us up in space, and allow us to really expand and dedicate all the crew time we have towards the scientific research, the Earth observation, the medical research, and all the myriad of things that we do on board Space Station now. And what's really exciting about this point, 6 years later, is that when we have our crew come and join us in the start of Expedition 53, we'll be 4 crew members on orbit. We'll have it for a short period here with Expedition 52 before they leave, but the longer period where we now have the sustained 4 crew members on the U.S. side, where now the amount of utilization we'll be able to get will dramatically increase. We'll still have to do the normal maintenance and housekeeping and other repairs, but we've got a whole 4th crew member who will be up there doing the science that's really showing off and showcasing what a wonderful laboratory in space and zero microgravity the space station is. Very exciting time.
Just a quick follow-up for perhaps the whole crew. You leave for Baikonur this weekend. Are you at a point now in the training where it's simply a matter of honing your skills, fine-tuning them, just maintaining proficiency?
I think we've already polished everything that we were able. So we're ready. The main thing for now is to use any second to spend with our families, to spend with those we really love, and not to forget anything at home. So that's our key features for the close week.
Yes, obviously. Oh, you want to translate that or no? No? Okay. Obviously, gaining the last points, this very important last point with the families is very important for us, and make sure that all things are settled. Our spouses are more than capable to take care of themselves. Actually, they take care of us too normally. So, but there are a few things that we need to clarify, and this is all important. But there are a few operational things that we do in Baikonur we will see our vehicle. We will have to make sure that things are settled. We have this little few personal configuration that we will do. Those are very important because you want to really feel comfortable once you are there, and you have to concentrate on flying the vehicle. And also, and of course, in Baikonur there is an isolation medical period of stabilization where we should have our immune system at maximum, ready for this new adventure in space where everything will be a little bit, at least at the beginning, out of whack.
As you said, there's a light at the end of a very long training tunnel, and the light is very bright. The only way we got through that tunnel, for the three of us, I think, so I speak for the three of us, is because of the amazing wives that we have. We all have young children, elementary school and even preschool, and yet our spouses have put up with our training, our travel, our absence, and our children are doing very well. Our homes are taken care of, and I think that just speaks to how wonderful our wives are, their patience and love and support. So we are very fortunate to be able to spend time with them, try and do the things that we can to say thank you very much for all that they've done to allow us to get here and allow us to be able to go play in the stars while they work down here on Earth. So as Sergey said, we are ready in every other aspect. Now we just get to spend the time with the people we care about and then go up and execute our mission. Thank you.
RIA Novosti. Sergey already told us that he will take photographs of his family with him into space and also the insignia of his university, alma mater. So I was wondering, what are you going to bring with you? What else are you bringing, and what will be your weightlessness indicator? Okay, well, let's start with the second half of your question. The commander traditionally selects the weightlessness indicator, but nobody says you can't have more than one. We haven't decided how many we will have, but it's going to be more than one, definitely. One of them is a small gnome. My family selected it, so it's not up for discussion whether this gnome is coming with us or not. Another weightlessness indicator is something that's being prepared by the specialists from Energia. Most likely it's going to be a Sputnik mock-up, a first satellite mock-up. I haven't seen it yet, but once we get to Baikonur and see it, we will be able to give you more details. And now I'll let my fellow crew members tell you what they are bringing with them.
Well, I still don't have my indicator of weightlessness because I still didn't manage to wrestle anything out of the hands of my son. He doesn't want to give me anything. Everything is his and has to stay with him. So I'm still trying to figure out something that I will bring next. In the previous flight, I brought a little Krasny Shapchka from my daughter, which was very nice, and we will see what I will be able to get. Maybe a transformer, because it's kind of crazy in these transformer things.
And I have a Malenki Medved, a small bear given to me by my son who's 11 and my daughter who's 7.
Evgenia Dodnikova, thank you for allowing me to ask you this question. I wanted to go back to the question of your spacewalk. What EVA suit are you planning to wear? Recently, we heard that Fyodor Yurchikhin removed and replaced one of the spacesuits that are on board. So we were wondering if you're planning to wear new spacesuits. Can you tell us more about this? For spacesuits, everything has been decided. The spacewalk will be done the following way. Mr. Yurchikhin will be using the New Orleans suit. Whatever he managed to assemble from spare parts, that's the second spacesuit. Unfortunately, the second spacesuit did not get to this station because we lost a cargo vehicle in January. So I will have the spacesuit that's already on board. Unfortunately, we don't have 2 or 3 new spacesuits on board as was originally planned, but we'll definitely have enough. The spacewalk will consist 90% of science work. We will be launching scientific satellites. We will be servicing the external payloads that are installed outside and performing the engineering support and preparation of MRM-2 for future EVA capability. So that's basically it. Okay, and the second half of my question, if we look at your science program, we'll see a lot of experiments, as usual, and there are various experiments when you are performing work outside of the station. Are there any consequences of being outside? I know that you have specialists monitoring your health, but still wondering. When you look at the station while being outside of the station, it becomes very obvious that the station has been on orbit for many, many years. It's in a great condition. And it is true that our specialists are monitoring the state of the station, but you can see scratches and dents, physical damage. Sometimes you see chips on your windows from space debris. And so this by itself is a science experiment also, because having such a large engineering structure in these conditions for years and years is something that needs to be monitored as well. So for every small chip or scratch, we photograph it. Our specialists on Earth analyze it. We do samples where we can, because it is possible that there may be certain microorganisms that will start existing outside of the station. And that's been proven to happen. And so this is one of the experiments that I will be performing while being outside of the station. In the future, I expect space stations will fly longer and further away. So we need to work on improving the structure that will fly in space. Thank you very much. Our last question, Ekaterina Belogoeva, Russian Space. And also one last question from the TASS agency. I'm sorry, did I miss this? Are you bringing any personal items with you? What will you bring to the crew that's already on board as presents? Did they ask for anything specific? And also a question about your children. Do any of your children want to become cosmonauts or astronauts? Have they ever come to visit you at work? And are any of them coming to see you off as you launch in space from Baikonur?
Certainly bringing the personal items when you're that far away and that distant from your family and friends, having a picture of them just makes you feel a little bit closer. And equally as exciting and as joyful is when you're able to take a picture of their picture in space and you send it to them and you get their response. That is equally as rewarding. So of course we have presents for our Expedition 52 crew that they don't know about that we're going to be joining, and I have presents for all of my Expedition 53 crew they don't know about, but they'll find out about on orbit.
We bring photographs, we bring various mementos. I'm bringing the special flag for the Russian school children. That is something I must have, because I am going to do a lot of educational activities for small children as well as older students. I think that's it. And of course, we are bringing presents to our crew members. Yeah, and I'm sure my grandfather sees everything, looking down on us. My children do not dream of space. Although my youngest one is only 2 years old, so I'm hoping that he'll be interested. He's not coming to Baikonur or because he's too young, and the rest of the family will see me off here in Star City.
Mentioned that that's on his list of possibilities. I'm hoping my daughter Abigail, who is 7, might be interested, but recently she asked me, Papa, почему? Why can't you have a cool job like being a fireman?
Yes, and my daughter Sophia, sometimes she talks about astronaut, but I think she's exploring. She's still exploring her passion. So I think what we are trying to do with my wife to let her explore and help her explore everything, so she can really feel what she wants to do. And she wants to be an astronaut in the future. She has to do it because she wants it, not because her father was an astronaut. And the young son, Max, is 3, and I don't think he's really thinking about anything except Transformers. And he was very excited when we took him into NASA, and I was wearing the EVA suit for a training because I thought I was really a Transformer.
Fyodor Nikolaevich, before he flew in space, tried to introduce a new tradition. I don't know how successful he was, to give their mission a name. Will you continue with this tradition? And have you chosen a name for your mission? I think we will go to Baikonur. We will look at our vehicle, and if we feel that it would be a right thing to do, we'll do it. If not, then we're fine as well. Thank you very much. Dear friends, the crew will now go to the Cosmonautics Museum in Star City, where the crew members will sign the visitor's book, and then we will go to Moscow, to the Kremlin wall. Thank you very much for the work and for the questions. Thank you very much for such great answers, and we will continue our activities today.
Oui.